Welcome everyone to Memorial Day Monday with Massabesic Gold and Silver. This week we will not be having our regular Morgan Dollar Mondays with Massabesic Gold and Silver as we are going to observe Memorial Day. So I hope you do stick around as we talk briefly about the history of Memorial Day and then have a little bit more too. So Memorial Day really stems back to 1868 with the establishment of Decoration Day. Decoration Day was established by the leaders of the Grand Army of the Republic, and it was a day for folks to be able to go out and decorate the graves of the soldiers that had given their lives in the American Civil War. Decoration Day really had started in 1866 when various communities throughout the nation, both in the North and South, had already started kind of a tradition, in a sense, of going out to their loved ones' graves who had lost their lives during the American Civil War, and they decorated them and took time to remember their loss. Fast forwarding, though, to the late 1800s, the Decoration Day had kind of turned into more of a Memorial Day in the sense that there was more ceremony added to it. It wasn't just a day of going out and decorating the graves. There was also times of reflection and speeches and such. And it wasn't until after World War I when the Memorial Day celebrations, if you will, or observances, included veterans who had lost their lives in all American battles and wars. But it wasn't until 1971, through an act of Congress, that made Memorial Day a national holiday and established it to be observed on the last Monday of every May. And here we are, on that day. Growing up in my hometown, there was always a Memorial Day parade, and as the parade passed my house, we'd always look at the veterans who were marching and the marching band that would follow them, and often other kind of military vehicles and whatever else would be in the parade. After the parade had passed, we would stand up and we'd follow the parade all the way to the War Memorial in the center of town, where there would be speeches given by veterans and sometimes other folks about Memorial Day, and there would be prayers said and also great speeches. And one of those great speeches that was always included was the Gettysburg Address. And so I wanted to share that with you all today. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln, Gettysburg, November 19th, 1863. Well, thank you for joining me today to observe Memorial Day. I hope that you are with your families and that you are going to have a good day today. I also hope that you do take some time to remember those who have given their lives for the service of this country. And if you are a veteran or somebody who has lost a loved one to war, know that you're in my thoughts and prayers today. Until we meet again, Stay safe and enjoy.